A lot of you have asked me what are the best countries to immigrate to very quickly or very easily. Now, this question can be answered relatively fast, but it depends on one big factor. Who you are, where you're from, how much money you have, and which country you have your citizenship in. And that could play a factor. So basically, if you're an American, let's say with dual citizenship with Canada, maybe it's better for you to use your Canadian citizenship to obtain, let's say, a visa for permanent residency or retirement residence in a Commonwealth country like UK than being an American. So that will depend on that. It also depends on where you are in your life. Are you going there for retirement? Are you skilled? These factors will depend, and I'm going to mention them. So New Zealand is one of the countries where it's quite easy to get in if you're from the US and Canada and Britain. They have a lot of programs for skilled workers or for retirees that just want to move there. The only thing you need to prove in order to do that, and it's very fast, is to prove that you can support yourself while in a country, and you should be able to get a permanent residency relatively easy. Now, New Zealand is amazing, the cost of living is not too high, and it's a very advanced country and it's extremely peaceful. The second one is Australia. Australia has pretty much the same program as New Zealand has. It's slightly more difficult apparently to come into Australia than it is to New Zealand, but it's fairly easy enough depending on which country you start from. Now again here, when I say it's easy depending if you have money for investment or if you're planning to go there to do some business or just retiring. But generally, it's quite easy, quite fast. Germany. Now Germany is in complete expansion. They're really doing very good. So it's relatively easy for people to go there if they're skilled workers. Also, if you're retiring or you're going to be an investor, it's also easy to go to Germany. To be honest with you, if you're going to retire, that wouldn't be my first choice. If you check my video on the best country to live in the world, Germany is definitely not on that list. And the reason why is because Germany is expensive. But if you go there to work, or if you want a kid education for free or close to, and that's going to give you your EU blue card, and that's going to allow you to go all over the EU and the Schengen Accord. That's pretty good. Now for us North American, Costa Rica is very, very good. It's extremely fast. A few weeks and you should be able to be on your way to have a permanent residence for retiree over there. They already have all these programs in place. It's definitely designed to not just bring investors, but people that will go there, buy a house and live in the country and literally spend their retirement saving over there. That they're doing it very well, and it's relatively easy to come in. Panama. Now, Panama is a relatively safe country. It's extremely centrally located and it's very good to live in. You don't have to speak massively Spanish because they have a very good English speaking culture. So this is a good place for you to go. They have something called a friendly national visa. So this you can get relatively easily for retirement. And again, friendly because you have to come from a country that they are considering friendly. So US, Canada, in most European countries, you'll be able to get into Panama very fast, very easily, and get a permanent resident card and eventually a citizenship if you want to. The seventh one is Belize. Belize has a program called the QRP, Qualified Retired Person. Now, this gives you the right, once you can prove that you're officially retired and you have a pension, to move to Belize and live in the country without any issue. It's extremely quick to get it. You don't have to do much. Of course, it also depends where you're from and the amount of your retirement or your savings, but that will give you the right to retire in Belize very fast. Ireland. Now, Ireland, unlike Panama or Belize, is not cheap to live in, but if you're looking for a country that you can move to relatively easily, the country is doing amazingly great and they really need skilled workers. So to get a visa to Ireland, it's much easier than other countries. And definitely, as a Canadian American, you would definitely be able to get access there and get a permanent residency quite quick. Now, our next one is Portugal. Now, Portugal is considered a country that's very cheap to live in Europe. And you have the golden visa, which is relatively easy to go into if ever you want to either invest in the country or you promise you'll be able to create jobs. Now, this is something you can get very quickly and you could do it after you moved into the country. So this is good for that. I recommend always to do it after. Personally, I would very secure my visa before moving in, but if ever you're already in the country, you can start applying apparently from within the country. This is what it's written on their website. I'll trust them on that one. Now, the last one on the list is Mexico. Mexico, you can go with a temporary visa for 6 months, and once you're inside the country, you can start applying for your more permanent residency. If you buy a house or something like that, you'll be able to get it very easily. This is a country that as an American and a Canadian, they almost never refuse you. And like I said, you can just go there tomorrow morning, start living in Mexico, and apply for whatever you need after the fact. Now, call this a bonus, call this his personal experience, call this something that I'm very familiar with. Guys, accumulation and doing things fast, not procrastinating on these things really matter. You can go to Mexico, you can stay there 6 months, doesn't matter, you get out of the country after your 6 months, you come back in, you can do that for 10 years. Okay, a lot of people have done this for almost their entire lives. However, the minute that they're gonna crack down on this, you might have a trouble. And on top of that, if you're already in the country and you have assets and things, you might lose them. Don't do that anywhere on earth. What I recommend you do, since accumulation matters, do it now, okay? And the reason why I mentioned this is Czech Republic, okay? A lot of people used to do this in Czech Republic from Vietnam, and then eventually they just realized that, oh, I could have gotten my pension after 20 years if I had applied to become a citizen, and I never did. If I had done this 10 years ago, then I wouldn't have like 20 more years to go. I would have only 10 years to go. Look at these things, okay? It doesn't matter. It's a few $1,000s. Apply now, get it done, then it start accumulating on you, and eventually you might have perks and benefit because you did it early. Okay, don't try to stay in the country illegally or try to scheme and try to play around. A lot of people are doing this in Vietnam as well. Okay, the same condition. They go to Vietnam for 6 months, they get out, they come back for another 6 months as tourists. You can do that. That's not a problem. I have a friend of mine who's been doing it for 10 years, but now you start to realize that, you know, it's a bit of a hassle. If he had applied for the permanent residence ID or, you know, the TRN, he would have probably be, you know, able to stay in the country permanently without any issue. Apply as fast as you can. That's my secret here, okay? Don't delay just for a few $1,000s. Check with an attorney, get it done. That's it, guys. And if you're wondering why I didn't talk about Spain, well, the flag was in the background. Well, I'll let you wonder about that. Take care, guys. See you in the next video.